Hello everyone. Can everyone hear me? Not loud enough? There? Better? You lot are clapping at reverb, this should be easy. Okay. Shut up. Right, okay. Good evening everyone, and thank you for coming. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jordan, and I'm Shannon's favourite brother. I'd like to start, maybe unconventionally, by saying, wow, that was close, wasn't it? By welcoming James to the family. As is usual in joining our family, you will get a name tag and a sort of family tree, so you know everyone is. I don't know who half this lot are, so you're doing well. Also, I'd like to echo previous comments from people that I've heard saying how amazing Shannon looks today. Wow, it's a lot of drink consumed, isn't it? Shannon and I get on very well now. Not so much when we were younger. We had very little in common. I was out playing football, riding my bike, and she was singing, and to our mum's delight, painting the bedroom carpet. She knows. And a lot of my friends are very protective of their sisters, and I was no different, but they always seem to need to act to be proactive. I didn't. The most I ever did was by proxy. On muck-up day at Shannon's school, you know. Everyone knows this? Yeah, you do? Yeah. At muck-up day, all the girls that year 11 were about to leave went to go and terrorise all the younger kids and tie them to trees and do other things. And Shannon seemed to be the next victim. And then one of the girls ran up and said, "Are you Jordan Harris' sister?" And she went, "Yeah." She went, "Right, no one touches her." I don't know what I did, but I've been protective since then. But I've never had to really be protective of her. She's always had a smart head on her shoulders, and I believe with finding a partner it would be no exception, which is why I found it weird when I picked her up from her shift at the pub one evening and said hello to about 7 of Shannon's work friends. And it wasn't until we got about half a mile down the road that Shannon decided to say, "By the way, you just met James." And this is really weird because we always talked about everything, and she would always say, "I'm going to introduce you to the next person, introduce you to the next person." She never did. So I was a bit shocked and thought that, well, I've got to ask her what's going on. So I couldn't understand, and I said, "So why haven't you said anything?" Later on, I found out why. Don't boo. James is a Spurs fan. I liked Kane for about a month. After that, he's scum.
I love
There's too many of you. You spawned overnight. But then I realised what Shannon was doing. With James being a Spurs fan, obviously used to being constantly overshadowed by the one next to you. So she'd been playing the long game in preparation for today, clearly. But when I finally got to meet James, he came across very well. He was polite, considerate, charming. You wish, mate. Clearly this was a facade, so I couldn't wait to see the real James. What was he really like? Aside from being a Spurs fan, what other weird abnormalities and creepy tendencies was he hiding? But in time he won me over. When on Christmas morning we opened the presents that he, Ryan and I got. Nerf guns and crossbows. We then proceeded to have a massive Nerf fight throughout the house. Instead of helping the table, it was a beautiful moment. But I spoke to James before today, especially at the stag do, and I asked him what it's like being going out with Shannon. To his credit, in all fairness, he said a lot of nice things. He said they've been going out for about 4 years now at the time, and he said, but it feels like 4 hours. Underwater, I didn't really understand what that meant, but I find it later But seriously, everyone here knows that we've considered James one of the family for pretty much day one. Today was an inevitability, not an if but a when. So on that note, I'd like everyone here to please raise your glasses and give a toast to the new bride and groom. Oh, wait on.
Right, I'm about to read my wedding speech. A lot of my jokes and comments have been stolen already. Ryan did some in the church thing bits here. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I can't breathe. Okay. Once upon a time, there were two little boys. Firstborn son Jordan, pretty perfect pregnancy, easy delivery. Textbook baby, they said. Less than 2 years later, along came a little brother for Jordan. This didn't go quite according to plan, as he gave us a fright and got whisked off to Great Ormond Street for 6 weeks. Thankfully, he was a little fighter and got through his ordeal, but phew, I thought, not doing that again. Well, needless to say, pretty soon, all previous traumas forgotten, I started to think how lovely it would be to have a daughter to complete the family. One was not going to make any difference. And along came Shannon. After two gorgeous Ghostbuster mutant turtle loving boisterous boys, arrived a ball of pink frills. My fault, I know, from the minute she came out. This is going to be a breeze. It seemed I had still a lot to learn about parenting, and Shannon was the offspring to provide me with the necessary education. I learned that thoughtfully answering infinite questions does not end them. It simply encourages further questioning. I learned that no does not, in fact, mean no, but usually something more like why? But what if, or yes, but mummy. Sorry, Shannon. I learned that absolutely not was merely a starting point for negotiation. Our neighbours once told me that Shannon had rung their doorbell and held her finger on the button until the door was actually answered. They asked her why she had done this. She only had to ring once, briefly. Shannon replied that she found people came quicker that way. She'd obviously researched the issue of people not wanting to let her in. Maybe it was the questioning. But she was always super intelligent, bright as a button in school, and always been such a star through her years at stage school, always making us so proud. With her lifelong buddy Laura, she wrote a pantomime, and all the songs too, picked out on either the piano or guitar. She'd never had any lessons. She performed in it too and was hilarious. She has been the most delightful, beautiful, kind-hearted and considerate hurricane to have swept through our lives. I thank my lucky stars every day that I have been blessed with her. Her compassion, especially recently caring for her grandparents, is unwavering and immense. She lifts me up when I'm down, counsels me when I panic or worry, gives me perspective, and shows unconditional love to her family, her large circle of friends, and of course, our James, my third son. This boy has fitted seamlessly into our family from the start. He has been an incredible support, not only to Shannon, but to her grandparents, even more so in recent months. He is beloved by all the aunties as they coo over him, washing up after family parties, showing off. He passed all entry to the family tests, and we knew early on that he was one of us when he bought Jordan a Spurs calendar for Christmas. Safe to say, James has earned his place and is very much trusted with Shannon's heart. We know it's safe. If he messes up, we kill him. They are a perfect match.
Show me the knife.
That Valentine's Day 2 years ago, when he concocted some rubbish story about a client in my area so he could pop and see me, I knew he was up to something and tried so hard not to get my hopes up while he was on his way over. But yes, after a few awkward minutes of small talk and the kettle on to boil, he fessed up and asked permission to marry my daughter. Naturally, I squealed, then hugged him, and then drove him home so he could prepare the surprise for a completely unwitting Shannon. It felt like such a long day waiting for Shannon's call and the obligatory ring photo. And what a beautiful ring it is. I know I speak for the whole family when I say we couldn't wish for more for Shannon than James. Yeah. I'm sure everyone here will know why I'm giving this speech instead of her dad, but I know how very proud he would be of the amazing and incredible Shannon has grown into. Incredible woman Shannon has grown into. And also her choice in Shannon and James, we love the pair of you. You are both a joy to have in our lives. I'd like to raise a toast now. Am I allowed to do that? Yeah. Shannon and James. Hang on a minute. Just before I hand you over to James, Mark would just like to say a few words.
Thank you. You're pleased to know that mine is very short, and then I'm going to hand over to James. But I'd just like to mention two things. My very first kind of encounter with Shannon was when the night I met her mother, and unfortunately during the night we had separate parties, so I was phoning her to check that we could meet again, and unbeknown to me, with the reception in West Malling, as some of you may know, it's quite poor, the phone had not been gone to an answer machine, it had actually gone directly to where she diverted it through to the home phone. So my first encounter with Shannon was actually poor Shannon picking the phone up at about 12 o'clock on a Friday night, 1st of June. July, sorry. I'm in the doghouse now. 2011. So that was my first encounter. But eventually, when she'd answered, and in a flirty voice, I said, "Oh, is that Beverly?" She's gone, "No, it's her daughter." Oops. Not the greatest of intros. But flashing forward a few years, Shannon had come back from university, wanting to look for a part-time job. She brushed up her CV, and I said, "Come on, let's get you down to Maidstone." So we went down to Maidstone. I thought, "Oh, I'll sit here for a while. She can jump around a few pubs." First one she went in, she's come out, she's gone, "Yeah, I've got a job." Wow. I wasn't surprised, really. But all I would say is, James, you are welcome, because that was Earl's. So I'm going to take a small credit for today, but a very small one. And now I'll pass you over to James. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're done. Yes, sir.
No, I've been told I'm not allowed to make that joke twice. Distinguished guests, relatives, friends, freeloaders. You know who you are. On behalf of my wife and I, we'd like to welcome you to our wedding celebrations. You'll have to excuse me, I'm not really accustomed to speaking in public, and I'm more a little bit nervous about making this speech. It's fair to say it's not the first time I've stood up from a warm seat with a bit of paper in my hand. I'll be making a few toasts tonight, so please make sure your glass is full in front of you. And Susan, remember it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're genuinely overwhelmed by how many of you have travelled down to spend time with us today. Special mention to my family from Australia and those that have come from abroad. Today would not have been possible with the help of so many people here. Our gorgeous bridesmaids, Rachel, Liv, Rosie, Laura, Maddie, and our bridesman, John. You all look $1 million today, especially in comparison to my groomsmen, who look like I won them in a raffle.
Right now.
It gets worse. Danny, Tom, Rich, Andrew, Martin, you are all my best men. I couldn't function without you in my life. You are always there to support me, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you to our beautiful flower girls, Layla Sky. And our page boy Charlie, who has I say thank you so much for all the talented people in our lives, especially Katie and Jamie for their performance today during the ceremony. Thank you to Shannon Brothers Ryan for his ceremony speech. My brother Tom for his craftsmanship in making the tree swing outside. And to Shannon's auntie Barbara for making all the lovely bunting outside. I've got the mic. Thank you to Shannon's cousin Holly for making the wonderful wedding cake. And a huge thank you to Mark's mum Penny for her floristry scribbles. And thank you to our good friend Zoe for helping coordinate today. And to her hired help, Alan and Mr. Ed. Thank you to Dan and his team at Zinc Buffets for their fantastic service tonight and the food. And thank you to our parents, brothers, sisters and partners for supporting us not only in this wedding, but mine and Shannon's life and relationship. So a particular thanks to Beverly, Mark, my grandma Margaret, Shannon's Nan Jean for their generous contributions to the wedding. Today would not have been possible without them, and we'd now like to give you a small token of our appreciation. There you go, Mum.
Oh, yeah, I've been crying all the way through it.
Okay. Penny, I've got some flowers.
Dripping on me, but I'm okay.
Oh, sorry. This isn't for Charlotte. Yeah. Is that all of them?
Thank you, James.
And a final thank you to all of you, our friends and family, for being here and in our lives to celebrate with us here. So, of course, today would not have been possible without my gorgeous, beautiful, amazingly wonderful wife. Shannon has been planning this day for so long and has put so much effort in. So much so that 4 months before I'd even proposed, Jeremy from High Rock's wedding venue called to say congratulations. And have we picked a date yet? Now, you've done an amazing job organising today, and you've done it all on your own. Needless to say, I was quickly removed from the wedding committee after suggesting several fancy dress themes. I'm sure you all agree it was the correct decision. But you look absolutely stunning today. I feel so lucky not to have you only in my life, but now to call you my wife. Thank you for marrying me and for making me the happiest and proudest man in the world today. I don't have to hope that our future will be a happy one. I know it will. As I'm sure she'll tell you, I'm often wrong. But in marrying you, I know I've made the right choice. Beverly, thank you for raising such an amazing person who is thoughtful, kind-hearted, talented, and such a pleasure to be around. But today's not about Ryan. But whilst we're on the topic of fantastic children, I'd like a special thank you to my mum and my dad for raising such a charming, handsome, and modest son, although I've got no idea where I got these qualities from. Beverly and Mark, thank you for making your home my home and welcoming me into the family for day one. Shannon, the last 4.5 years have been an amazing journey with you, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store of us. Thank you for being my rock, my constant source of entertainment. You are my soulmate and best friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you all to stand, raise your glasses to the bride. To the bride.
Yeah.
You may be seated. Now, I could stand here all day and repeat some old, stale wedding jokes you've heard a million times, but I'm going to leave that to my best man. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Cella.
Okay, actually, before we get started, big hand for the England football team. Come on! Okay, let's go. That's it. Done. That's it. Finish. Right. Okay. In all honesty, we do need to acknowledge a few people here today. Zoe Sparkle, wherever you're hiding, what an amazing day. You've really pulled out the stops. What an amazing day. Fair play to you. Very selfishly, I'd love to acknowledge both my kids who played some amazing roles down there. And lastly, actually, before I get on, Mr. Tom Croft there, actually, for pulling out the stops on the old Stag Night, mate. Thank you so much. Fair play to you. We had a great time. Even though he really called me, but it was great. Okay, glasses on. Here we go. Okay, right, ladies and gentlemen, by now you've listened to various Harrises and Crofts whittling on for hours and hours, so I'll keep it very short. Okay. Right, many moons ago, a small dingy public house in the centre of Maidstone became a home away from home from a very close-knit circle of mates, all of us, very, very close-knit, and we still are. It was a live music community. And now this pub was the smelliest, dingiest, stickiest, ugliest, horrible licensed establishment you've ever seen, you could ever imagine in your life. Okay, but we were all there. It did, however, have one redeeming feature, and it was the staff. Some of which are here today, maybe one or two up the back there, but certainly one or two here. Okay. I mean, I can honestly say they really, really did change my life. They're absolutely superb people. When I first met James, he was, he was kind of an angry, skinny, pasty young lad. Very dry wit, sarcastic, straight face. I liked him immediately, I've got to say. Despite the pub being run by a cruel, evil dictator. Okay. Yeah, no arguments there, okay. James always managed a warm welcome to his friends, coming around the bar, shaking hands, listening to sob stories, often slap a drink down in front of me, go, hey, you know, I had so many drinks in the wood this weekend, I think I'm going to buy you a drink. And, you know, he was always a lovely, lovely, lovely lad. And he'd, you know, I don't know, I just knew that I would like him straight away, and I knew he'd be a friend for life. Well, over the years, we've had some legendary parties, us lot, so James quickly became part of that gang, always putting everyone else's needs first, making everyone else's drinks. Would you like a drink? Do you need a drink? Do you need a coffee? Do you need this? Which Shannon obviously caught on to rather quickly. Oh, yes, husband material. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, I would often wake up sort of fairly bleary-eyed in sort of the crack of noon the next day, and James had cleaned the entire house and hoovered and was making everyone cups of tea and stuff, so yeah, I think Shannon kind of, caught onto that pretty quickly, okay. He was, however, a little bit slow on the uptake, actually, initially, so I think every one of James's friends would agree that Shannon had her eye on him. And on one fateful night, actually at the house, I chatted with a rather inebriated, squishy Shannon in the lounge. She was going, actually, Danny, I think you can send James in now and shut the door. And, that'd be good. Okay, Shannon. No probs. to which case I sort of hunted around the house and found James. I was going, James, Shan wants you in the front room, mate. He goes, what? I was going, no, James, Shan wants you in the front room. And I was trying to be very discreet as well. And he was going, Shan? I was going, yeah, Shan wants you in the front room. In the end, I just basically bundled him into the front room and shut the door. And the rest is history, really. Okay. So, I just really would like to thank the both of you for having such a caring nature, your capacity to see the good in everyone. You are, honestly, we all say that. Your thoughtfulness, your big grins, big hugs. Honestly, I love the pair of you. And finally, I mean, as for Shannon, most people think you're one of my kids anyway. When we go out with the kids, they go, yeah, is that one of your kids? I go, yeah, you know. I do remember the time my rather drunk father-in-law stumbled into the pub. And he said, he looked at Shannon curiously, and he was going, is this one of ours? And I'm going, yes, yeah, we said yes. And Shannon introduced James to Jim and said, this is James, this is my fiancée. She was going, oh, lovely, welcome to the family. I think in hindsight, to be honest, the next time we'll probably just black James up and... Right, I really must say to the both of you, actually, really, from the bottom of my heart, Paula, Lucy, and myself would be very proud of both of you if you were actually our kids. Both of you. I wish you all happiness in the world. I'm really looking forward to the next chapter in our friendship when you guys move back to Maidstone. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the bride and groom.